everyone, and welcome back to Build Divide Worldwide. With the Tokyo Regional now days behind us, and the dawn of Parade Iora and the continued relevance of Ishtar fresh in our minds, I'd like to tell you about my side of the story. The story about how a Margreta deck got 28th place at a 267-person regional. Before anyone asks, there was no net decking. I made this. I'm quite confident I was the highest placing Margreta, and the only one I saw that ran a 3-color build. So my record was 5 wins and 2 losses. 3 out of my 5 wins were hard-earned victories, while 2 were heavily in my favor due to luck. My losses were the result of bad luck, in my opinion, but you can be the judge of that. Before diving into the matches, I want to show you my deck and explain the thought process behind it. Like I predicted in our Fukuoka results video, Moriarty was a great card, not just for Margreta, but for red and white in general. That card is powerful, and the fact that it can restand your Margreta is a plus. Besides that, the number of shots for my Fukuoka build hasn't changed too much. I still have 3 each of Genie and Perona, but I added a new shot from set 8, Difficult Stage. This card is great for Margreta since it stalls your opponent, but also lets you scout through your deck if you're trying to dig for Margreta, or just want to stack what you'll add with the territory effect. It had great utility for me all day. Another change was the addition of the 3rd color and quick units. I feel that Margreta's worst matchup is against aggro decks, and to try to cover that weakness, the 2-cost Decoy May and the 2-cost Headshot were added. For late game, the 6-cost quick units can be used both offensively or defensively to restand Margreta, either for an extra blocker or to add another 2 hits into a turn. That being said, if there is another good 6-cost like Rokuro that isn't a buster in set 9, I will absolutely be replacing Fuka with a 4th copy of Rabian and a 4th copy of Agora. Other than that, I feel like the list is pretty self-explanatory. But if you have any questions, please write them in the comments. To begin the story, I traveled X amount of hours, blah blah blah, you know the deal. In the first round, I went up against Parade Iora. I pretty much opened the ideal hand with a Headshot, an Agora, and a Margreta, meaning that I had a turn 1 defensive option, a turn 2 ramp, into a turn 3 Margreta. That is this deck's bread and butter combo. I removed his turn 1 Elara, into playing turn 2 Agora, into Margreta. Meanwhile, he didn't manage to open his territory, so it was an easy win. Game 2 was actually a mirror match against Margreta. However, he was playing one of the many Granadiga versions that I saw at the event. The basis of this deck was to combo Granadiga with Margreta's territory in order to summon something from your energy, which was either a Margreta or an Elview, a 6-cost decoy from the Lionel starter deck, who becomes a 10,500 unit when it battles on your opponent's turn. I feel like this deck relies too much on destroying your own advantage. In my opinion, you don't want to be the one to destroy Granadiga, otherwise you aren't maintaining an advantage on the board. However, the tricolor version I use allows you to wait until your opponent has used their energy before summoning something, then having all your energy standing to do even more on the following turn. He got me down to 6 life in the early game, but I reclaimed and maintained advantage in the mid to late game through board presence, turning it into a win for me. Game 3 was against Battertos, and I think this matchup is very heavily Margreta favored. You really just want to survive through their first Battertos summon, and then build up a lead from there. This is super easy to do with a turn 4 or 5 Aladdin and then running over Granadiga. Just use your summoned Margreta to block a hit from Granadiga if you can, then get in with Aladdin. This was a little more dicey since he recovers life every turn he uses Battertos. It almost went to time. However, just before the round clock stopped, I managed to hit him for 3 with Aladdin to seal the win. Game 4 was against Takina. We were both 3-0 decks at this point, but I didn't expect a bright territory to be undefeated 3 games in. His deck was the ramping territory Licorice Recoil, which he used to put Berserk units into his energy and then used commands to bring them out. His deck was too slow against Margreta though, and if you're slower than Margreta, I think you need to be a super controlling deck in order to beat her. Another win for the girls. I played against Ishtarte, a matchup I was eager to experience. I removed turn 1 Nadia with Headshot, and summoned a May to block, but I had 4 busters in life, and was down to 6 life on my turn 2, which turned into 3 life on my turn 3. I opened my territory, but it was too little too late. It was lost to the eventual 2nd place winner, Nobu, which is kind of funny because I also lost to him at locals the night before. Game 6 was against Neferkuses. I held out as long as I could, but I never drew Margreta or a Shining Mission and never opened my territory. Another loss. Game 7 was against Bel Belbalon. He told me before the game he had lost interest in winning and was playing for fun, So I said, bet I'm gonna get this W. He played IR on his turn 3, but I ramped into Margreta and summoned it before he summoned his own ace, making him a very sad boy. And that's the long and short of it. If you have any questions, like I said before, please feel free to ask them down below. This has been Josh from Build Divide Worldwide, and I'll see you in the next one.